So when your relationships are struggling, you don't really need a 3-day retreat to find each other again. You don't really need a perfectly worded apology or some eloquent exposition on how you feel, or even a breakthrough session where everything finally gets said. Sometimes you just need to linger a little longer.
Longer than Big Red. So kiss a little longer, stay close a little longer, hold tight a little longer, longer with Big Red. That Big Red freshness lasts right through it.
Seriously though, 6 seconds of kissing, 20 seconds of hugging, that's it. It's not a trick. It's not a performance. Just long enough to let each other know that they matter again. Because let's be honest, intimacy isn't this grand finish line we sprint toward. It's not a state you arrive at once you've processed all your childhood wounds and decluttered the garage. The truth is, the body already knows how to reconnect. Your nervous system, it's listening all the time. Not to your explanations, not to the "we're fine," quote unquote. It's listening for the touch, the tone, the time, the safety. And here's the wild part. A single kiss or hug done with actual presence, not distraction, nothing like that, can really start to change everything. All right, well, hey, thanks for joining me for another episode of the Voyage Cast. This is Eddie, of course, your host, and today we're talking about the 6-second kiss and the 20-second hug. And they aren't just cute relationship tips floating around. They actually come from real research, real practice, and real science. So let's get into it. So the 6-second kiss and the 20-second hug, these were popularized by Dr. John Gottman. He's one of the most trusted voices in relationship psychology, and he studied thousands of couples over decades. And he discovered that small, consistent actions, not grand gestures, are what separate the thriving relationships from the failing ones. So what is the 6-second kiss? Well, it's a kiss that's long enough to be intentional and short enough not to be intimidating or time-consuming. This isn't about making out in the kitchen before work. If you want to do that, that's fine, but that's not what we're talking about. It's about choosing each other deliberately, seeking each other through the house, finding that person, and laying one on. You're going to stop scrolling, you're going to stop being distracted, and you're going to feel with them. You're going to feel their presence, their warmth, their breath. You're going to really tune in to what's going on in that embrace. A kiss that makes you pause and say, "Oh, there you are." Now, here's where the science catches up to what you may or may not know, but your soul, well, it knows it in spades. Kissing for at least 6 seconds triggers the release of oxytocin, the love hormone or cuddle hormone. Oxytocin helps us to build trust, connection, and emotional closeness. And it also lowers cortisol, which is our body's primary stress hormone. In other words, a real kiss doesn't just feel good. It rewires your nervous system to believe you're safe, held, and you're not alone. The same goes for the 20-second hug. There's actually research behind this, especially from neuroeconomist Paul Zak. A full-body hug that lasts 20 seconds or more kicks off a cascade of biological benefits. Oxytocin rises, cortisol drops, blood pressure and heart rates regulate. Even your immune system can get a boost. These aren't just emotional perks, they're physiological anchors into our reality. They teach our body that love is safe, that someone has you, that you don't have to keep bracing for rejection, conflict, or neglect. And here's the thing, those moments of physical connection might be the only time in your nervous system truly lets go all day. Now, I understand for some of you, this sounds wonderful, and you may have never experienced this a day in your life because your parents didn't hold you, or in previous relationships you felt so overly rejected that you've closed off or built up walls, and you're unwilling to receive those benefits. But what we're talking about right now is the goal. This is what we want to move into. Now, I know that talking about this can be hard even in your normal relationships, because even in our normal relationships, sometimes we skip the touch because we stop caring. We got in these weird ruts, and maybe we got in too much conflict and now our current relationships feel unsafe. It's kind of like these ideas of like, I'll hug them when they stop being distant to me, or I'll kiss them when they start apologizing. So we wait, we withhold, we protect ourselves, but connection doesn't work like that. Action leads emotion. Ritual creates bonds. Touch resets the trust. Now, I'd say ritual also creates trust, which helps to create the bonds. That's why these small gestures done daily matter so much. If you're just too tired to talk, don't force it. Just hug. 20 seconds. That's all it takes. No words, no fixes necessary. Guys, pay attention. You don't need to fix everything. Just your presence. Now, this might feel counterintuitive, especially if you see if something's wrong. But oftentimes, the touch is the first thing we need to do. This episode is brought to you by Voyage's Counseling, the mothership of the Voyage cast. Life has its ups and downs, and sometimes we all need a little help navigating the tricky parts. And that's where Voyage's Counseling comes in. Our team of licensed therapists are here to provide support and guidance, helping you to gain clarity and confidence as you move forward. Whether you're working through challenges, improving your relationships, or focusing on your personal growth, Voyage's Counseling offers care that's tailored to you. We're committed to making sure every step you take feels meaningful and manageable. And if you're ready to take that step, visit voyagescounseling.com to learn more or book your first session. You don't have to go it alone. And, by the way, we do take most major insurances. Now, of course, there are relationships where touch isn't safe at all. Situations where there's been trauma, abuse, or betrayal. In those situations, you don't push past your body's no, right? You honor that boundary. But for couples where love is still alive, just buried under the stress, kids, conflict, exhaustion, these micro rituals, as we'll call them, can open channels that words sometimes just can't access. So let's break it down. Quick snapshot. 6-second kiss is for 6 seconds. It increases your intimacy, trust, and connection. It can raise oxytocin and can lower your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. Your 20-second hug is for, of course, 20 seconds. It boosts emotional security, reduces stress, raises oxytocin, and, of course, lowers stress or cortisol. These are tiny little investments, but they do something really big. They keep you from becoming strangers who just manage a life together. They help you stay lovers, friends, and witnesses to the wonderful things you guys get to experience. And here's when to use them. When you part ways in the morning, when you come home from work, when things feel tense, but you don't have words. When you just want to say, I still see you, you still matter to me. Now, intimacy doesn't grow in peak moments always. Sometimes those peak moments can help promote intimacy, but oftentimes intimacy grows in the quiet in-between, the dash, so to speak, in the small, deliberate acts of showing up, even when you don't feel ready. Because love isn't sustained by feelings, of course. It's sustained by choices, by behaviors, and by rituals. 6 seconds to linger, 20 seconds to hold. What could that do for you? What would change if you made that habit part of your life instead of waiting for the perfect moment to reconnect? Now, I promise there aren't perfect moments, especially if you have a family like I have. There's never perfect moments. You don't have perfect timing. You just make the effort. And if you fail miserably at making the effort, so what? Try again later. So if your relationships are feeling cold, don't start with a summit. Start with a kiss, small moments. If people can ride a bull for 8 seconds, for God's sakes, you could probably kiss your partner for 6 seconds. And if that's too much or words feel too heavy, just hug it out. 20 seconds, no agenda, no rescue mission. Just one heartbeat beside another. Or another technical way of framing that is co-regulating. We do that with our children. If you have children, you understand that. Because intimacy here is not built on emergencies, it's built on rhythm. If intimacy is built on emergencies, then that's like a false intimacy because it's not something you can sustain. It's always predicated on the highs, and it's not predicated on just the natural rhythm of real life. And maybe with 6 seconds at a time or 20 seconds at a time, your hearts will remember how to meet again. Because it is true, sometimes if we pull away long enough, we kind of forget how to re-engage, don't we? And those of you that have been married for any great length of time, you understand what I'm talking about. That drift is real, isn't it? So if this moved you in any kind of way, share it with somebody who needs the reminder. And if you want more conversations about love, trust, and staying in it, check out the rest of our podcasts. All right, well, that's it for now. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of the Voyage Cast. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give us 5-star ratings because that really does help with the algorithm overlords in spreading the message to those out there that do not have access to good therapy or good services because we're out here providing this for them and for you. Thanks so much.